You hopping on? What's up? All right, here we go. Will is here. Pop live. Hope you guys can hear me. My house is super hot. Will,
There you are.
fully dressed and set. I'm not. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not fully dressed. I'm in workout clothes, but I'm gonna go work out right after this, and I did not fully dress up.
No worries. I gotta head back to the apartment and go for my run after this too. So, whatever.
No, honestly, I'm mad. I should have done it next time. I will fully set up. I feel
Slacking.
at this moment. It's like going to a business meeting. Everyone else is in a suit, and I'm out here in a t-shirt. That's how I feel right now.
There you go. That's all right.
Yeah.
I'll forgive you this time.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Look at this. We got a good amount of people here. What's up, guys?
Yeah, not too good.
Yeah, for the
I see we're both looking pretty unkempt. You with your hair, and me with my ugly beard.
That Uechi, the quarantine Uechi
look. Yeah.
Yes. My hair, I have totally stopped caring. I don't put oil in my hair or anything anymore. I stopped caring. Yes, Uechi's strong. Yes, sir.
For sure.
All right, yeah. I stopped caring. I don't care. But yeah, I mean, today for everyone who's listening, that we put out some flyers and stuff about this. We're gonna go over the importance of physical conditioning, strength and conditioning when it comes to martial arts, especially in the traditional martial arts area, because that's something that we both feel is really under
lacking. Lacking.
Yeah, the way you said
it. It's not taught as something that's important when it should be.
Yes. And notice, guys, we are generalizing when we say this. Obviously, there are certain traditional schools that will not fit this conversation. There will be some who are very, very athletic. My brother's school, matter of fact, Akinoku Farms Martial Arts, they're all competitors and they're very athletic. So we understand that this isn't necessarily everyone, but if the shoe does fit your school, you can feel free to lace that up. Okay? Because it's definitely a lot of schools. All right. But yeah, do you want to say anything in particular? Do you want to start us off, or?
Sure. Yeah. So I guess this is sort of relating to something that Leonard and I have talked about a lot, which is a lot of martial arts, especially traditional martial arts, have been forgetting the martial aspect of the martial arts and the fact that it should be you should be able to use a martial art in self-defense and in a fight. And the way this particular discussion or chat is going to go is, well, if you don't have the physical fitness to pull off any of the techniques that you're learning in your martial art, why are you learning it in the first place? So, Leonard, your thought on that?
We got to.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that is a huge thing. I mean, I look through. I mean, because as many of you guys know, I'm also a competitive fighter for Muay Thai. I've done some competitive karate stuff as well, but mostly Muay Thai and kickboxing, a little boxing. And like one thing I recognize is like when you look at people who are actually competing and testing their skills consistently against other people, everyone has to be in shape. Like you have this mindset that is consistently taught within traditional martial arts. And it's not false. It's taught in all martial arts. I don't say traditional. Everyone knows that technique has the capability to overcome power. That is very true. But also, power has the ability to overcome technique.
Yeah, if it didn't, there wouldn't be weight classes.
Yes. Yes, there wouldn't be weight classes. I figured that out too. Sparring, for example, me and Will just had a whole conversation. We were going over things. What are the three elements that we were talking about that really decide who wins a fight? I think it was athleticism, size, and technique and skill.
Yeah. We talked about that not too long ago. Yeah, where technique is obviously a big one.
Yes.
I think that one of them we considered was just like physique, and that kind of did everything from your, how fit you are to, your physical size. Like simply if you're 6'8" and you're fighting someone who's 5 foot tall, just based on the differences in your physique, like the person who's 5 foot tall needs to be like exponentially better in technique to overcome that difference in size. Like that's just how it is. Life isn't fair, you know.
That's definitely. I was just having a conversation. I might maybe separate athleticism with physique, because there are some big guys who aren't necessarily in shape, but that length and the weight itself can still be very helpful. Like, you're just able to take more punches. But when I look at, like, for example, I was having a conversation with this guy who I train. I was helping train Muay Thai, and I was having a session with another guy who's been doing martial arts for like 20 years. He's extremely experienced. And he was talking to the guys like, dude, you're good, and you have athleticism, because he was athletic, he was explosive, he was powerful, he was fast and strong. Even more so, not as fast as me maybe, but definitely stronger. He was bigger than me, he was taller than me. Sure. The guy was saying, but in a fight, obviously he's like, I'll give it to Leonard, because Leonard's been training so much longer. But in 5 years' time, if both of you keep training, so I keep training and he keeps training, because of his size advantage and his weight advantage and his athleticism, once he reaches a certain point, the hill is so much steeper for me, because I'm not a big guy, to actually be able to beat this man, especially in a fight with these sort of rules. Like, it's a little less steep when it's like, I can kick you in the nuts and in the knees and stuff like that.
Yeah. The more dangerous techniques you're allowed to use, the more it evens out. It's sort of like, you know, if you give two people guns, right, their physiques doesn't matter. If you give two people swords, well, their physiques kind of matters, but technique is kind of more, right? Yeah. And then you keep going out, okay, you give two people knives, right? Okay, physique matters more than swords, but you still, you know, if someone's pretty good with knives, probably the person better with knives, right? And you go down, okay, what if they're just bare knuckle? And then you go, okay, well, what if you gave them, like, you know, boxing gloves, right? Yeah. Well, no, if you give them boxing gloves, well, then, you know, it's, you know, technique obviously still matters, but it's going to, you know, size is going to be a big thing, because you're padding the weapons, right?
Yeah. No, that's huge. I've been in that situation too. A guy who I train not right now because of COVID, but a dude I train, and I teach him Muay Thai, and I can tell you, from the day we started sparring to now, he's a lot bigger than me. And like, now it's like, I don't want you to land even one punch because you're like 230 and I'm a tiny man. And it's just like, but in the beginning, it didn't matter so much. You know,
and you know, I watched a video of the guy who played the Mountain. Hop for Bjornsson, I think his name is. The dude, like, legitimately, he won World's Strongest Man, right? And as far as I know, he has next to no, like, actual practical martial arts skill, right? And so he was sparring against Conor McGregor.
I saw that.
Legitimately, like, one of the best fighters, you know, at least at the time, right? And he was just bodying Conor McGregor, and the only thing Conor McGregor could do was basically just kind of keep his distance and wear him down, because he had way better stamina. Yeah. But like, as soon as you know, whatever, Hop for whatever his name is, I grabbed him, like, it was done. He's just, the dude's like 7 foot tall and 400 pounds of muscle. It's just like nothing you can do.
At a certain point, if I can armbar my entire body weight with my muscle strength, I can't armbar you. You know what I'm saying? If you just curl everything I am. You're hanging off his arm, and he's just like, I don't care. Yeah,
he curls your body.
At a certain point, I mean, obviously that's an extreme case. Most human beings cannot do that, but it is important to recognize that, and as we go to these extreme cases, that physical conditioning, like strength and conditioning, is, I mean, you need to respect that in a similar way. As you respect, oh, this guy's a black belt. Well, this guy's super strong and super athletic and a football player. Like, obviously, those aren't people you want to tussle with, even if you have skill. Now, I have, on another note, I've sparred a few friends who are football players, over 6 foot, have zero training. They've been in the gym for 3 months, and they're all like, yeah, I want to spar. And I've rocked 2 of them. And another dude's 200 pounds. I dropped him with a leg kick. They had to break us up. Like, it's very possible to beat bigger guys. That being said, 5 years of training, that's not happening for me. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Unless you're like some sort of genius of martial arts who picks up everything super fast.
I mean, you know. Yeah. You can be a Sanchai.
But So so that I think we kind of right there we kind of covered the physical differences just in your inborn size, right?
Yeah.
So now if we kind of go into more of just being physically fit to do your martial art, you take whatever you naturally have, and if you never practice in a way to make it like live, or to make it, I think maybe we want to do another one discussion at another time on practicing against people, like live training, like why sparring is important, right? And that's definitely important. But just, if you are out of shape and you don't have the speed in your body to actually block, we're talking Uechi, for me, and you've got circle block. If your circle blocks are that kind of speed and that's fast for you because you just aren't physically in shape to do a circle block, why are you practicing that? Because you'll never be able to pull it off.
I'll never pull it off.
So at the same time that I'm not saying that you should give up practicing your technique, because obviously technique is super important, but you should also be working on your speed. You should also be working on your strength at the same time, because to pull off any of these moves, you need to have those.
Yeah, and going back, like we just like what you're just saying, to pull off the moves you need a certain level of athleticism in some way, shape, or form. Like, if you're in a situation where you are fighting someone who is bigger than you and you are relying on your technique to make up that gap, like I said, I'm short. I'm like 5'7" on a good day, and it's so bad to say that out loud. But like, I work a lot on my conditioning to make sure that when I do throw a punch, when I do throw a strike, it's hard. Like it hits hard. So that if I am fighting someone bigger in a street fight situation and I do land a punch, even though my punch isn't as strong as his, it's still strong enough that he questions whether or not, this still won't be easy, even though he's a little guy.
Maybe not worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something you need. Like, and even deeper than that, if you're practicing for self-defense isn't about winning the fight. Self-defense is about getting away without being hurt. It's not about winning. It's about getting away without being hurt. If you can't run a mile, that might be a problem for your self-defense.
Yeah, no, that's actually a very good point. Yeah.
Like, you can't. I mean, the smartest move in self-defense, if you're by yourself and not defending someone else next to you, is to get out. Like, it's just get away.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I forgot the point I was just about to make.
Okay. No, but so, like, but another, let's go to the extreme other inches. We hit an extreme on, like on the one side where you're dealing with people who are extremely in shape, but like on the extremely not in shape side, I know some black belts in multiple systems, actually. But that literally, if they throw a punch at full strength, and these guys are guys who, and this is why I separate athleticism and size, because these guys might be 6 foot, but their punch won't hurt me very much. Like, I know guys who will throw their kick, and technically, if you look at the form, it's technically right, minus any sort of pop or danger. It's not scary looking. It looks like there's no power behind it. And you got a huge gut. And you're not, like, it's not like you're super old where you can get away with, like, being a little bit out of shape if you're, like, over 60. I don't know. I still am not. I plan to be a super fit, but.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. But yeah, no, I know the type where it's like, if you're sparring with that type of person and they throw a punch, you're just like, why do I even bother blocking it? Like, it's going to hit me and it's not going to do any damage. Like, I don't need to, I don't need to bother blocking, or checking their kick, because if it hits my leg, I could take like 10,000 of those and it'd be fine.
Exactly. And if that is your situation, understand you're practicing an art form. You're not practicing a self-defense martial art form. You're literally learning a dance. Like, at that point, you're just learning a dance. And what really hurts is a lot of situation. they don't recognize the importance or the danger there of not being in shape, because they truly do think, these guys think that they would be able to fully defend themselves against someone coming at you with real aggression. And that's another thing we talk about later. We'll talk about the importance of sparring live so you understand real aggression. But like when someone comes at you with that pressure, your heart rate goes up, your adrenaline spikes. Your endurance is cut by a fraction of what it was before, and then all of a sudden you're just real strength. You have to resist something for one. You have no strength to counteract it. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. If your cardio is not good and the fight goes longer than like 30 seconds. I mean, you see people get winded real fast if they're not in shape and they're throwing like, a few punches, like they'll be winded. Their heart rate will go up to like, 180, 190, and they'll be winded within, 15 seconds.
Yes.
And so if you don't have the cardio to either keep throwing or to defend against that, then you're going to be on the losing side of a fight.
100%.
And similar, I remember what I was going to mention before, and it's kind of on the same vein. It's you need to make sure when you're practicing, you actually have to hit something with the strength you would hit something in a fight. Just punching and kicking the air isn't going to cut it, because you don't know you watch any white belt hit a heavy bag for the first time without like wrist protection, and you got to tell them start real light, because you tweak your wrist real easy. And so if you're not used to that, you would probably end up hurting yourself the first time you actually hit someone with a full punch or a full kick.
That is a whole other really solid conversation to go over at some point. Just the importance of like conditioning your body. Obviously you have like the base conditioning of like conditioning your legs and all that kind of stuff that a lot of martial arts do. But like even when I do like my Muay Thai, my boxing training compared to my karate training, I stopped wearing I was wearing hand wraps because they look cool when I take the gloves off.
Mm-hmm.
But like I've needed them. I've never hurt my wrist punching. I can hit a heavy bag with decent strength. I mean, I'd rip my knuckles, but like I could hit it.
Yeah. Especially if you turn over.
Like, yeah. But half the time I'll wear the hand wraps on, but just to protect my knuckles, and I don't.
Yeah.
Just wear the gloves, or I just wear the gloves and no hand wraps. I don't.
Yeah.
Because of the karate training, my wrist is right, and you see a lot of boxers who will actually punch incorrectly because they're so used to the support.
Yeah, they're so used to the big support. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was going to say, you see, I've heard a lot of stories of like even like semi-pro boxers who get in like a street fight or something like that, ended up breaking their wrist or breaking their knuckles or something like that, because they're not used to punching without gigantic pads on their fists, or the only thing they ever do without it is like speed bag, right? Which
that's not
you're not getting, you're not punching against like 150 plus pounds with real resistance. But I mean, so how much of that, you said you've never hurt your wrist, how much of that do you believe is just because you've been doing it long enough that you sort of just have ingrained in you the proper mechanics? Like, can you remember the first time you hit a heavy bag? Because I started martial arts late.
So the first time I hit a heavy bag, I mean, it may not have been the first time ever. I remember the first time when I really started training martial arts. But like, so when I was a kid, we had a Makarari board in the first, like in the little kid place where I was at, and I would hit that, and so that helped me understand the positioning of the wrist. And then I started weight training in college. I started taking it more seriously and really getting involved in everything. And I would like obviously she was very, like, our instructor Sensei Joan was very important on the structure of the fist. And then I started we went to the same college, for those who don't know, and I started going to our gym at the college and just hitting the bag there. And I would punch the bag with gloves on because that was mandatory, but I didn't have hand wraps at the time. And I'd start off light, and I kind of figured it out. And I figured out from understanding the Uechi positioning, and I took some classes here and there. When I finally really got into Muay Thai, I noticed I never really needed it. And I think it was because of the karate, and because I've always been a stickler on technique because I'll be honest, I am one. Before I started competing, I was one of the huge opponents of the fantasy fallacy idea that is really given from TV and movies that a guy my size with proper training will literally run through 5 football players by himself, like without ever lifting weight, ever going on a jog, or ever doing that. Like literally, I did no muscle on me at all. I could just run through them like a.
Oh, I remember what you looked like when you started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was 150 pounds in college, for those who don't know. I was 150 pounds when I came to college. So I was a tiny dude. And yeah, so I was a stickler on the technique. So my technique was always fairly good. And then I lucked out at maybe 2 years in my Muay Thai. I ran into my crew Mason, who helped me on my Muay Thai journey a lot. And he actually was a proponent of me not always wearing the wraps to really focus on the actual structure, which is, he's probably the only Muay Thai instructor I've had who pushed it. I have others who don't care. I have martial arts, like Muay Thai instructors who know I punch correctly and they're not bothered by it. But he was the one who like really pushed me to do that. And so my knuckle, that's important when you're fighting. If you're prepping to fight in the street, that's an important thing to do. And about why we have open hands and all that kind of stuff. But let's save that for another one. Because
sure.
I'm thinking of so many good things to have this conversation.
Oh yeah, working on toe kicks and
Okay, you work on toe kicks. He can land them, guys. He can throw legitimate toe kicks.
Toe kicks are fun.
Lazy to train my toes like that. But he does them properly. They hurt. That's when I started believing him with it.
Right in here.
Yep.
Doesn't feel too good.
No, they suck. But yeah.
But so back on topic a little bit, just on the general fitness. I want to put in sort of one caveat, I guess, is if you are in the camp of the you're out of shape and you kind of know it, whatever. If you are doing martial arts and you don't really care about the whatever getting in a fight or the self-defense aspect of it, then this conversation doesn't really go to you. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. Who am I to say, right? I think if you're considering it a martial art, it's kind of less of a martial art, the martial aspect of it, if you're not doing it as self-defense. But you can practice it however you want. Free country, whatever you want to call it, right? You can do that if you want. But you are definitely lacking at least some of the meaning behind it if you don't have the fitness, the strength, the speed, and the cardio. Those are the 3 big things, is the strength, the speed, and then the cardio. So if you're lacking, any one of or all of those, then you're definitely missing at least an aspect of it that I think and Leonard thinks is an important aspect.
I think, and we'll go back into this later on, but if you do any type of sparring, like sparring with strength, not just point sparring, which actually, I don't want to hate on point sparring because you can get very athletic and even learn to deliver proper power doing that as well, contrary to popular belief. I know some point sparring are absolute murderers in actual full contact. So I don't want to hate on that, but if you're not doing any kind of fighting, feeling pressure and aggression on, you'll figure out the importance of strength very quickly. And again, I just want to point out, it's not necessarily that you have to be as strong as the person you're going up against. Like at a certain point, like me, I'm still competing, so I can't allow myself to get too big. If I start weighing more than 150 on my scale, I freak out because I just don't like cutting weight. I fight at like 135, so I hate cutting. So I won't let myself bulk up to that level. But when I'm done fighting, that will be a different story. But even at my size, a guy 200 pounds, if we're like, say we're clinching or we're really close and we're wrestling or even doing some kind of jiu-jitsu thing, because I have a level of strength and an understanding of body mechanics, I can't really fully push him. He's so big, but I might be able to just pop him up a little bit, create space to make the move work. You know, and it's
Yeah.
not about being able to purely match their strength all the time. You've got to have something to give yourself the wiggle room to let your techniques work in the first place. If I had no muscle and squished my arm on my chest and I can't move it at all, well, I won't have any ability to do any technique. It's at the end of the day, it's definitely necessary in some form to be working and conditioning in that way. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, like if your strikes, your punches, your kicks don't have the speed and the strength to get through their blocks and to actually do damage, then why are you throwing it in the first place?
Yeah.
You know, a big thing with, you know, fighting is never throw a punch without a reason, right? So you can throw a punch that you aren't intending to land if it's a fake, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not intending to land it and it's not set up to something else, then don't throw it. You're wasting energy. So if you are throwing a punch that has no ability to damage the other person, then you're wasting energy.
Yeah.
There's no point in throwing it.
Yeah.
So it's that same kind of vein is, you know, if you don't have the ability to do whatever you want to accomplish with that attack, then there's no point in you doing it at all.
Yeah.
And
I said combat intelligence, got to respect the fight. Very true. You got to respect when you start competing. You start respecting what real fights are like. That's a good point, guys in the comments. But another thing I want to point out too is when you're dealing with instructors, like I find it's really important to have a role model in your instructor and who you want to, like when you go into a martial art gym, especially a traditional gym, which often have a bit more of like, especially when you're dealing with kids, and they look up to you as that's the guy I want to be when I'm fighting. Unless like there's obviously the exceptions. If you're older and like I know I have some instructors who are in their 80s who teach and listen. At a certain point, you're 85. I get it. Okay, like I'm not. But that being said, all the 80-something instructors I know are in shape. Actually, right after I thought about it, for their age, they're pretty in shape.
yeah, they're 80-year-olds you don't exactly want to mess with.
Yeah. The instructors who are out of shape and bad are usually like only in their 40s. Now that I really think about it, and have no excuse. Yeah, I know some 40-year-old instructors who are so out of shape. And, you know, learn your martial arts, and one of two things: either they will preach technique beats all, you don't need to worry about all that, which, as we've gone over, is total crap, or they will tell you to be in shape and work hard, but will then do nothing but drink all day and get fat and never work out. And it's not have like an injury where they can't work out, they're just lazy. And I do this all the time, and it's such a negative, it's just awful for the
it hurts whoever they're training with, I think, a little bit, because they don't see the full application of what that martial art can do from the person that's training them.
Yes. That's a very good example. If the instructor, especially when they're in an age where they should be able to do it, but cannot demonstrate the full power of a move as they try to do it,
it would be like, you know, being taught, you know, a technique with the wrong form, because it's like, oh yeah, this is how you're supposed to do a punch. You aim with your little knuckle, right? And you'd be like, no, you're gonna get hurt if you do that, right? And so it'd be the same, like, you know, if your instructor, because generally martial arts, you know, they say, what's the term?
What's up, Viking?
You sort of imitate what you're trying to learn, right? So you're imitating your instructor, and so if your instructor is doing a move and you're imitating your instructor, you know, if they're doing it wrong, then likely whoever they're teaching is also going to do it wrong.
Yep.
And so if the instructor is throwing punches that are whatever without proper form, or, you know, just slow or something like that, then the people that they're teaching are probably going to emulate whatever type of punch that they are doing. or whatever type of kick or whatever. So it's really, I think it's doubly important for anybody who is in a teaching role to be in shape, because, or else you're teaching, you know, oh, don't you know, someone who's too big around to put their arms all the way down, you know, and it's like, okay, well, how are they supposed to teach from the proper chamber if they can't get their arm in the chamber?
Yes,
right?
That's a solid point. That is a solid point. I like that. How do you show a guard if you can't squeeze because you're too big up here to really show what it is? Yeah.
No, I mean, people who are bigger need to find ways to adapt that, and hopefully they can, you know, reduce some of their size, you know, just through diet and exercise and stuff like that, right? So, you know, using martial arts to get in shape, I think, is a great tool.
Yes.
You know, obviously, you know, a martial arts workout can be awesome, you know, both cardio and strength and everything.
You actually just hit something else we can go over during this. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But you were just, like you just said, like a martial arts class can be a workout. And that's something, when you go to a class, and whatever kind of school or dojo you're at, you need to recognize in which way they're teaching. I know some instructors fully do believe in having the athleticism, but they fully expect you to do it by yourself at a different gym. And they will sit there in the class and go over just, and even if they aren't stuff, but they will tell you, all right, remember guys, go out, do your running, go out, work out, go to 24-hour fitness, or maybe they have a gym with weights in the back and they'll tell you to get that workout in. But they're not doing the workout. In the martial art classes, they put all that time on technique.
Right. They're not wasting your time with it. They're not watching you and walking you through everything.
Yeah. And you have to understand.
You might do some like push-ups and sit-ups as warm-up or something, right? But that you know, a little bit of calisthenics doesn't count as a full workout.
Full workout, yeah. You have to know what kind of school you're at, and obviously this is everywhere. Some places like again, I'll go with my brother's martial arts school, from Martial Arts in Oakland. Phenomenal. In my opinion, I don't want to say the best because I'm friendly with multiple schools in Oakland, but one of my favorite like traditional styles and for the area when you're looking for a school. And they're very competitive. They're always competing. And you go to one of their classes and it's a legit workout. And they merge the workout with the technique. So you'll be doing these super deep, long stances, walking down with like push-ups, sit-ups, all this stuff within the workouts, and it still is technique properly. But you'll leave and like half of this stuff feels like a football class, but you're ready and it all connects to fighting.
Sure.
And some places are really like that on competition. You see that often in boxing is like that as well, and so it's high. You get a lot of conditioning. But with karate, and maybe a lot of kung fu, stuff like that, hapkido, stuff like that, you don't necessarily have that. It's still just as important. What's up? Friday, you just logged in, one of my favorite practical channels. I need to get you on here at some point too, actually. All right, yeah, that'd be dope. But yeah, go back to where I was. I just had that whole brain fart moment because one of my favorite guys hopped on here. But yeah. So I mean, when you're looking at what kind of dojo you're at, you need to recognize whether or not. Dope. He says he's down. We're gonna do this. But yeah, I will message you after this and set this up. But yeah, you want to recognize what kind of school you're at. If it's a school that's not focusing heavily on the physical conditioning for yourself, that's okay. Handle your own business. Go out and run in the morning. Find a 24. They're relatively cheap. Go out and weights.
It's sort of like you need to supplement your technique training with some sort of physical fitness training, you know. So you do your technique training, and if wherever you're learning your technique from doesn't also give you a physical training in strength, in cardio, in speed, and whatever, then you need to supplement that yourself however you need to. You don't have to go to them. You can get a hell of a workout by just going to like a playground and doing pull-ups and push-ups and calisthenics and, you know, running and lunges and squats and all just body weight stuff. You know, you can do all that just fine and get in really good shape.
Corona.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. No, I've been kind of in a rough shape because I used to go to the gym, like, you know, and lift weights 3 to 4 days a week. And obviously for the last 10 weeks or whatever, I haven't been able to do that at all. So it's just been run every day and use the park and do pull-ups and push-ups and stuff like that. And elastic bands, which better than nothing, but right. But it's not great. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, what you're saying, I mean, yeah, it's just totally necessary to get that in. Oh, speaking of you going out and doing what you're doing now, when I started Uechi, for those who don't know our system of Uechi karate, it's one of the most important muscles is your lats. Oh, he's wearing
yeah.
But lats are huge. And I remember when I started, so we went to a school, our dojo where I started in Sacramento. They do, not everyone necessarily stands up to this, but they do often push the importance of working out and saying you need to get in shape, especially your sensei Jo. And she used to make us do, like, when she would teach it at the college, and part of your final was being able to do was 500 sit-ups. So, or was it 300?
It was less than 500. I don't remember exactly, but I know, like, during our warm-up, we would always have a large amount of push-ups and sit-ups.
Yes.
And then, if you could, fingertip push-ups. Yeah. And then, you know, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Shinjo is a beast.
Very close to
Shinjo's a beast.
Very close to Shinjo. As well, yeah. She used to train with Shinjo when she lived.
When she lived in Okinawa, yeah.
But yeah,
lats.
Yeah. So
you were mentioning.
Huh?
Yeah, so you were mentioning the lats from Uechi when you first started. You had 0 lats.
Absolute zero. So we have another instructor named Will, and I remember one day, dude, he came up to me, he pointed at my back and was like, "Where are they?"
Yeah. So we do sanshin without the shirt.
Yeah.
Without the gi top. So you can see sort of the muscles engage and all that. You can see the lats as you pull down here. You can see the lats pull down and protect, you know, your back here. And so yeah, when Leonard first started, you were like what, like $120?
No, I was 115. I was 115.
115?
Yes.
Yeah. No lats at all. Like, you know, we do pounding. Like, you know, you check in sanshin. You hit them in the lats to see if they have it engaged. And you hit Leonard back then, and you just feel ribs.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's changed now. You put on like whatever 20 pounds of muscle or whatever. But
it's 20 to 30 depending on that. But yeah. But no, the main thing I was saying though is I didn't gain those lats just from doing something that helped a lot. But what I did was I went to the gym. I found every machine that was meant to do lats, and I actually found one machine where you pull down that. Oh, and that. But I wasn't ready for that yet. And I just worked the crap out of my back muscles nonstop, and I have lats now, and it's amazing. Okay, so yeah. So,
I'll be honest. When I first started Uechi, I had never lifted upper body in my entire life. Before that, I was in the I was on the Sac State track team. I was a high jumper, so I wasn't allowed to lift upper body.
Yes.
You want to be as light as possible upper body, right? You huge legs and no upper body, kind of like a biker, you know. And so, like, I was pretty similar. I was 6'2" and 165. And I probably, until I was, I want to say like a brown belt, I didn't do almost anything other than just martial arts. But I used to do a ton of calisthenics and stuff like that, and just sanshin. And I had pretty solid lat muscles, basically just from martial arts and calisthenics. So I mean, it's possible to definitely build that muscle and build the strength up. Yeah. You know, without too much supplemental. You don't have to like be like a gym bro and drinking creatine and protein powder and stuff like that. You don't have to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm not saying you have to be a gym bro to be a martial artist. I'm just saying you have to be in relatively decent shape. Like, you don't have to be a high level athlete. But
yeah, you don't need to be cut and be like, oh, look at these gigantic muscles. But you need to be able to physically pull off whatever technique it is. You need to have the physical capability of doing it.
Yes,
and making it effective.
And for my martial art, that required the lat muscles that I didn't have. So I went. Yeah. So yeah, that is a huge thing. I had a whole nother thing I wanted to hit, but we like fell so deep in this, I forgot what it was.
Yeah, no worries. We can always come back at another point. We've already been going for 40 minutes, so I'm not. I'm not sure how much longer you want to go.
Oh, see ya. Already out of here. And he actually says the hammer strength isometric row was the workout machine I was using. He pointed that out for us.
Yeah, that one's great because I think my current gym doesn't have that, but the gym I went to before that, man, I love that machine. That's the one you sort of lay your chest up next to. You put some weight on it, and you pull like this.
Oh, that one, yeah.
You know, wow, I love that machine. Yeah, no, I love that thing.
That's a great machine. That's a great machine. That's funny. I really should learn more on the weightlifting because I am a coach, but I coach all through Muay Thai. I never coach lifting and stuff like that. So
sure.
But yeah, I mean, go get in shape. That's the final thing I want to say. If you're a martial artist and you can't sprint a short distance to get away from an opponent, a long steady distance in case a guy's chasing you a long time, and if you can't generate any real power in your shots and in your punches, you need to go work out. That's it, really. That's what I'm trying to say.
And so I'll put one further thing in here, which is if you're trying to lose weight, it's 80% what you eat and 20% what you do. So you can go out and you can run 4 miles a day, but if you're eating 4,000 calories, a day, you're not going to lose weight, right? So the easiest, honestly, the easiest way to lose weight is you get one of those calorie tracking apps. They have bar scanners. You just bar scan it, whatever you're eating, and log it, and then keep track. Have like a Fitbit or something like that tells you how many calories you've burned.
Are we getting paid for that plug right there?
I wish.
Charging them.
Yeah. To be honest, I wouldn't have a Fitbit if it wasn't for the fact that my dad has one and we compete in steps. So I'd probably have like a Garmin or something else, just a little bit more smartwatchy.
We just lost all the money out for us.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's more about if you're trying to lose weight. It's more about what you eat. Obviously, doing cardio is also really good for you outside of losing weight. It's great for cardio. It's great for just building muscles. Running is actually one of the best things you can do for your core. Just core stabilization. It's amazing. So
do some because Minji, who is a friend of ours, she just said she just pointed out she hates running. I think it would actually be good to point out you outside of running for cardio because there are definitely other things.
Oh yeah, no, you could swim, you can row, you can just sports of any type. Like I play. Yeah, biking is great too. But yeah, playing soccer. You go out and you play a soccer game. You've run like 4 miles just in a soccer game.
Yeah.
What's that?
I hate the running behind fun like soccer. You're just
it makes it fun. Yeah. I was really getting into playing ice hockey before I tore my leg playing ice hockey. But amazing workout. I mean, you're exhausted.
Yeah. Soccer. Minch just said go bike, ride bike. A bike would be good. I can't believe. Yeah. Go ride. Hitting the heavy bag just hard.
Oh yeah. Heavy bags are super good workouts. Especially you can turn it into a great HIIT workout, which is what I was doing before my gym closed. They had a heavy bag, and so I would do 30 seconds all out on the heavy bag, and then like 30-second rest, 30-second all out, right? And you do that for like 5 minutes, and you're exhausted.
Yeah. No, that's solid.
Sorry for the horn.
The car alarm is off.
Yeah. I'm at the park right now, and there's a parking lot right behind me where the boat launch is.
No, that's fair. I was planning to drive go to the park and entertainment off. I kind of got caught in a business before we got on here, so that was. make it all the way out there. But I mean, right now we covered a lot of things. Like there's definitely more if we were to go get it. We could always cover that. I've been on here for 45
You're cutting in and out because you don't have headphones, and so your microphone basically when it hears sound coming out of its speaker, it cuts off your microphone so you don't get the feedback.
Oh, because of the honking.
AKA, yeah. Next time wear headphones with a microphone.
Got you. Okay. No, I'm the next.
We're basically done. So I mean,
We're done.
More or less.
Yeah, we'll cover if there's more on this we want to cover. I'll have to make the conversations for the future. I'm gonna go also grab that combo with Karate Unity. Hopefully, have that set up. Hope, can you hear any of it?
No, I'm trying to close my microphone so you're getting less.
Oh. So yeah, I'm gonna set up a meeting with later. We can come back to some of these topics later on, and also I'm picking up a couple other martial artists who I think would like all three get on here and have a conversation as well. Other more time and point sparring, and he's really friends with some guys phenomenal as well. Good. Like some really high level guys like those guys. He knows MVP a little bit, so all these guys who fight full contact MMA / kickboxing. So it'd be good to have on and talk. But yeah,
let's see. Horn finally finished.
All right, yeah. So oh, let's do that. Do you wanna? Will froze. I was gonna let people ask questions, so someone just asked, could we do a question and A? A Q&A. Do you want to do a Q&A real quick?
Sure, yeah. If anybody has any questions or has any comments, feel free to chime in with your thoughts on it.
Yeah, hop in, guys. Any questions? Shoot, Minji. She said, I'm full of great ideas. And then
great ideas. All right, where's our great ideas?
Where are the great ideas? She's probably typing. But
could be.
And she also said maybe we should have some non-martial artists on to ask some questions. Oh,
that could be interesting. Yeah.
What was the hip thrust that Robert was talking about in your kata video? Oh, so I just posted she said I'm a slow typer. I posted a home version of Seisan in my last Instagram post. And I was doing the knife hand strike from the hip. And mine was significantly lower than what most people taught. Normally it's taught to go into the ribs, like around right here, like where you kind of strike, or into the solar plexus area where you'd strike, depending on your instructor. And I dropped my hand really low, and he's like, why is it so low? And I'm like, because I adjusted it. I hate doing open hands to the area, because I fight with too many guys who are in great shape, and they have really strong abs. And I either throw it here, so I could either raise the strike, or I could drop it lower and go for the growing shot. And that's why I dropped it. It's because in my application, in that I was changing all the moves to be my particular applications, and I would go for the growing. And that's why the strike was so low. Yes. And there you go. And she said she couldn't tell anything other than the circle blocks. That is funny. Yes. The circle blocks are fairly obvious. Yeah. Oh, there's a question button here? Is that a thing? Oh, any possibility to seeing some collab on YouTube? There's a question button on Instagram Live.
Whoa.
I didn't know that. Yes. Lit. So, any possibility of seeing some collab on YouTube? Yes, there's definitely a possibility. We've actually already talked about doing some collabs on YouTube. These interviews will end up on YouTube. Possibly sooner than I expected. I have some videos I actually filmed a while back when I first had this idea, and I'm editing those together. Some of them I wanted to review, and I just pop these videos and go back to those later. So these fast. I could throw them on now. No editing really. So I might just toss these
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can, whenever you feel like it. I mean, I don't know if they're taking up room on your phone.
No, it's not. I have them all saved. No. The reason I have an order in which I wanted to drop down the YouTube videos, and I wanted to do them in order of like when I film them, but a bunch of them are not edited, and it was before Corona, some of them, so it's actually I actually have partners, like actually did some of the videos. So I wanted to get some of those up right now because the YouTube's been open for a week. I haven't really launched anything up on there. I should probably let people know that the YouTube is functioning. There's stuff happening. There's things happening there, and I'm gonna get out there. So yes, I'll thank you for the question, and I will do that. I still don't. Oh, and Minge still doesn't know. Can you show her hip thrust? Because I'm in the car. I don't have anything to hold. I can stand up and show her circle block, and then throw out a knife from your head.
Okay, yeah. So circle block is so. I guess I'm gonna take my watch off here.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're done.
All good. Yeah. So block is actually here. Block the punch, control. So slow block, right?
Yep.
And then knife hand.
That right there. Yep.
So it's you typically at least in Uechi, it's about like 45-degree angle down. The stated target is basically right underneath the rib cage.
Yeah.
But as Leonard was saying, that if you're doing that against someone who is like
Physically
fit and in shape, like it's going to be tough unless you've really trained your fingertips. Like it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Like I've seen some of those old Okinawan masters who like their fingers are so like jammed, they're all even.
Yeah.
And they could just like jam them into a makawari with no pain. I'm just like, I'm never going to get there.
Well, as was mentioned, Shinjo Sensei is one of those people who I do not want to get knife hand by. He trains it like that. But
Yeah.
I do that, but because especially me, like I recognize that like as I compete, the amount of time I can spend doing that, I will use in competition. I can't do this in competition, especially because
well, and at some point, all that damage is going to come back at you in the form of arthritis, and
yeah,
there's something to be said for, you know what, I'll take the beating or whatever. If not being able to do a knife hand loses me a street fight, I will take the beating for the lack of arthritis that's like guaranteed down the line.
To be real, if you couldn't win the fight without the knife hand, you probably couldn't win it with the knife hand.
Likely. I think Rob Sensei kind of mentioned something kind of interesting a few times, which was, you don't really do martial arts necessarily to save yourself beatings in the long run, because the number of bruises and beatings you get in martial arts
are more
combined over like 50 years of training is going to be magnitudes more than the maybe like one fight you'll be in your entire life.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And
So
I remember, I don't know if you've listened to Ian Abernathy, but he is a great example. He says that if you really want to learn how to just self-defense, get away from the fight, that's like learning CPR. And us martial artists are getting our brain surgeon. Like we're going to school to be brain surgeons. Like it's just a whole level of unnecessariness, but we just love it. You don't to defend yourself, run really fast. Like
yeah. If Usain Bolt basically got in, somebody's tried to get in a fight, all you have to do is just sprint 100 meters and the dude's gone.
Yeah. So Usain Bolt is a master of self-defense, depending on how you look at it. So
No.
Yeah. So I mean. And that goes back to this whole conversation about being athletic. I mean, obviously, there's situations where you can't run, and that's why having this doctorate degree over just the CPR become important. If you're protecting a loved one, or you're, I don't know. The only thing I can really think of to force you to fight is protecting a loved one or being cornered. So that'd be a great situation for to be a martial artist. But you know, there's other ways around it always, but that's why being physically fit is paramount in real self-defense, because in most situations, being able to run can save your life more than being able to punch. So
Yep.
get that down. Yeah. I'm good unless you got anything. I think there's a limit. I'm not sure what it is, but I think there's a time limit. And if it's an hour, we're about to hit it in 4 minutes. So we should probably.
Perfect. I think we should call it then.
Yeah. You there?
Yep. Oh, I don't know. Just lost for a second.
My brother called me.
So I guess if we want to do another one in a couple weeks or something, is kind of furthering the discussion on the need for like live sparring.
Yes.
So this is the teaser is why sparring against a not unwilling as far as like they don't want to spar, but unwilling as in like they're not a bunkai.
Yeah.
Uke. They're yeah. It's not a drill. It's not a preset form forward and back. It is live free sparring. Why that is important to martial arts. And I think we both find that is definitely for application wise 100% necessary.
Yes, definitely. All right, yeah, let's do that. That'd be a phenomenal next session.
And you said maybe you wanted to get somebody else into that one too.
Jackson, the reason I was gonna ask him to hop onto this one, but the timing just didn't work out. So I'll see if he can get on. And dude has a crap load of experience in competitions. And like I said, he's also friends with a crap ton of extremely high level martial artists. And I go to him when I want to work on my fancier kicks to bring that into my Muay Thai and my kickboxing stuff, because he's one of the best kickers I have ever seen. His whole school is insane. So, yeah. Well, let's see if we can for the next one.
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for the talk, everybody. Thanks for watching, I guess. And get these up on YouTube, I guess. It'd be fun.
I'll do that. I'll get this up on YouTube and just so it can have stuff on there. Let's do it. All right.
Perfect. All right. See you, man.
See ya.